Good morning, South Rock, and welcome to week 24 of the Story Devotions. I'm really excited for this chapter. There's so many great stories in it, but I want to direct your attention. If you have the red books that we have, it's on page 344 and 345, and it's the healing of two daughters. Now, we know of one. We see one very clearly as a daughter because a synagogue leader, who we know his name is Jairus, he says, "My little daughter is dying," and he's telling this to Jesus, and he says, "Please come. Please come and heal her." But on the way, he stopped because a woman who has suffered from bleeding for 12 years grabs the hem of his garment because she says, "Even if I just touch his clothes, I'll be healed." And she is. And he says, "Daughter, your faith has healed you." And so that's how I say there's two daughters that are healed in this very quick story. Jesus heals this dying daughter of Jairus, but he also heals this woman. And he's like, "You are my daughter, and I am healing you in this." And there's this really cool compare and contrast that you can do with these two women. But I really want to draw your attention to the woman that grabs the hem of Jesus' cloak, because she is courageous, beyond courage, in fact. So because she has been suffering from bleeding for this length of time, that means she has been ceremonially unclean for that same amount of time, which means she cannot interact with other people unless they're ceremonially unclean as well, which is basically anybody in Jewish culture except for other women who are on their cycles, basically. I'm going to be point blank on this. And so she has been an outcast. We talked about this last week. She's been an outcast for this long because she can't be around Jewish society because of her condition, right? For 12 years, she has been on the outskirts. She can't do much, and she's been to physicians. She's tried everything, but all she can do is for years be sick, basically. I mean, think about losing this amount of blood over the course of this amount of years. You're a hemophiliac. You're constantly worried about life and death. You're unclean, so you can't be around people. You can't worship in the temple. You are an outcast. And for her to even be out in society around this throng of people, the people she's touching and surrounded by, she's making them unclean in turn. And so she could be in big trouble in Jewish society for this. She is breaking laws by doing this. Not only that, but she has the audacity to touch a Jewish teacher, to touch a rabbi, which would make him unclean, which is borderline worth stoning her according to Jewish law. And so she is really, really courageous. She is really battling against what she knows to be right based on the laws of her society. And so she is very concerned about this. And I love that she touches him and Jesus knows and says, "Your faith has made you well." So she believed thoroughly that this would happen, and Jesus' power goes to her and it heals her. And then I love when he gets to Jairus' house, what he tells Jairus, which is similar to how this woman was feeling. He tells Jairus, "Don't be afraid, just believe." So we have two daughters, both healed by Jesus, both needing either their father or themselves to be courageous, not be afraid, and just believe that Jesus is possible. Jesus is able, I should say, to do these things. And so that's kind of a challenge this week more than a question. In situations that we go into, we need to understand that we have the potential to do great things through the Spirit and through Christ. And so how can we better live out these people, this man who is looking to have his daughter healed and this woman who just was in desperate need to be back in society and be healed from this? How can we live out these words? Don't be afraid, just believe. So that's all I have this week. I hope you have a good rest of yours, and I'll see you next time.